What's up, everybody? It's the Quarter Guy, and Nintendo has got me curious again. Now, a few weeks ago, Nintendo had this mini direct where they announced all sorts of stuff like The World Ends With You Final Remix, 10 years after the original's release, with a new scenario, and as part of the endgame content, and also SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, more information on Kirby Star Allies, Dark Souls Remastered, among other things. But that wasn't all we would see from Nintendo. This past week, Nintendo teased something new for kids and kids at heart. From that alone, I surmised that it wasn't going to be, like, something hardcore. But even I wasn't expecting what we got. Yeah, while I was at work on the day of the announcement, it was just as I was getting out of work, Nintendo launched their first look at something new. They call it Nintendo Labo, and basically, it's a way for the Switch to interact with specially designed cardboard constructs. Now, it's going to be sold in two different packs. The first one they showed off was the Variety Pack, which features a bunch of cardboard cutouts that you can put the Switch Joy-Cons in, and you can interact with them in special ways. There's a piano, there's a fishing rod, a remote control bug thing, a miniature playhouse thing, and a what looks like a motorbike simulation game. Now, the thing is, you construct the shapes from the cardboard they provide, and you stick the Joy-Cons into the respective slots, and you play with them in interesting ways. Now, for example, the piano on the inside has these reflective pieces of tape, and the Joy-Cons' IR cameras will be able to detect what key is being pressed at what time and provide the appropriate pitch, which I think is pretty cool. Also, the remote control bug seems to be taking advantage of the Joy-Con's HD rumble, which is an unusual way to use it, but But then the other thing they showed off for Nintendo Labo was the robot set, which is basically you use the cardboard to create something like a robot suit that you wear, and the way you move affects the robot on screen. Now, when I saw it, I was reminded immediately of Project Giant Robot. For those of you who may remember, back during the late days of the Wii U, there was, along with the Star Fox project, there was also Project Guard, which became Star Fox Guard, and Project Giant Robot, which never actually saw the light of day, at least on the Wii U. But this Nintendo Labo robot kit is actually reminding me of it. Now, personally, while I know this isn't a hardcore gaming thing, and it's not supposed to be, it's not meant to be, but even so, this thing actually has me genuinely curious. Granted, it may turn out to be something like a gimmick that people forget about, but if Nintendo does something well with this, they could have one of those quirky cult hits on their hands, or maybe something more if they're able to pull it off well. In fact, they're already considering further titles and, further use and even third-party use for Nintendo Labo. You know, it's funny. On the one hand, you have Nintendo's big moneymakers, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, and then, with the money they make from stuff like that, they're able to do these projects where they can do pretty much whatever the hell they want. I mean, we got it with Splatoon, and that pretty much became a bona fide franchise for Nintendo. We got that sort of weird creativity to a lesser extent with ARMS. By the way, I had fun during the Party Crash stream yesterday. Well, that's the Saturday before this anyway, yeah. And it looks like Nintendo Labo is going to be something like that. One of those things where Nintendo's just doing whatever the hell they want. And it actually looks pretty interesting. I guess I'll have to see when it comes out. Funny thing about that Well, yeah, funny thing about the Nintendo Labo, the set's coming out on April 20th, and the variety set is coming out with a retail price of $69. I can imagine the memers got a laugh out of that. Anyways, updates. Top 10 most annoying enemies is in editing stages. In fact, it is deep in the editing stages. I've got like 4 more segments to edit. So I'm hoping to get it out this week. And my next planned countdown is top 10 3D Mario worlds. I'm thinking 2 each from Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, and Odyssey. So, Mario's been one of my favorite franchises since I was a young gamer. It was the first, one of the first games I really loved on the NES, so that's gonna be a fun one to do. Less footage hunting too, so that's much better. Anyways, Road to Mega Man 11 is continuing, and remember, if my Extra Life campaign reaches $250 by the time the final episode of Mega Man 10 goes up, I will add a base playthrough of Mega Man and Bass to the Let's Play as a bonus for all of you. Link to my Extra Life campaign is in the description. All proceeds from the campaign will be given to the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin through Extra Life. And for my question of the week, what are your thoughts on Nintendo Labo? As always, answers in the comments. Favorite comments will be featured in the next episode. Here are last week's winners. And with that, time for the fourth wall mailbag. As always, send me your questions via YouTube comments. If you have a phone, try using your web browser instead of the YouTube app to go to my channel. So, anyway, and I'll answer my favorite questions in the next episode. First question this week comes from Ultimate KPit42, who asks, what team are you joining, Proto Man or Colonel? Now, this is a reference to Mega Man Battle Network 5, but this is why Double Team DX exists. So you can actually play as both teams. You can play through both games separately, swapping navies between the two versions. That's what I really appreciate about the DS remake. However, if I had to choose, I would have to go with Proto Man. Mainly because by the time Battle Network 5 was established, Chad and Proto Man were established characters by that point. Well, long before that point, anyway. I liked how Chad, the professional relationship between Chad and Lan developed as both as allies and professional rivals. And I appreciate the story that took place more so in Team Proto Man than in Team Colonel. I mean, Barrel and Colonel were just introduced in Battle Network 5, so we didn't know them as well as we did Chad and Proto Man, so that's why I honestly prefer the Proto Man side. Colonel was cool, though. Next question comes from Minion of the East, who asks, if you had a choice to choose any character from Shovel Knight to have their own campaign, who would it be, and why? To be honest, I would have liked to see Polar Knight get his own campaign. Because from the dialogue between Shovel Knight and Polar Knight, it seemed like they had some sort of history, and to be honest, I would have liked to see that history explored somewhat. I mean, granted, Polar Knight's big, and I'm not sure how they would have designed levels around someone with such a big hitbox, but mainly for the lore alone, that's why I was interested in Polar Knight. But I'm looking forward to King Knight's campaign, not gonna lie. Next question comes from the Fireball Disaster, who asks, are there any video game genres that you're not good at? Let me tell you something. Yeah, as much as I love fighting games, I will admit I am not good at them because I am a bit of a berserker when it comes to competitive games. I go in, stay in, and ultimately get my ass kicked. For the most part, usually. Well, I get my ass kicked more times than I kick ass, but, what are you gonna do? But, to be honest, probably the worst... Well, probably the genre that I'm worst at is first-person shooters. I don't think my reflexes are quite that good enough to be able to draw a beat on opponents that quickly before they have a chance to do the same. And, I get sick of I get sick of dying all the time in FPS games. At least in the competitive side of them. I'm not really that experienced in strategy RPGs either. But I guess that's just from a lack of experience. I should probably play more Fire Emblem. Last question this week comes from Scott Schiff, who asks, out of all the King of Fighters games on the Switch's eShop, which one should I try out first? To be perfectly honest, I'd say any of them.